Hi, everybody. Welcome to Pardon Your French. This is part one of a two episode like podcast about perimenopause and the menopause. So this is the book that I want to recommend. My friend Claire gave it to me and it's incredible. So it's by Meg Matthews. So basically she talks all about perimenopause and menopause, like lots of hints and tips and stuff. But yeah, when you feel like it's crazy, it's trying to understand what's going on with your mind, your body, your life, everything. It's like a midlife crisis for women. And HRT, talking, male menopause, change, everything like that. It's a really good book. So I'll take a picture of it. So it's called The New Hot, because I guess you get loads of hot flushes, don't you, which is starting to occur. And I was like, is this the weather? Or is this perimenopause?
Or a combination of the two.
Both.
Yeah.
So this is my thing. Obviously, I always feel like I'm quite young at heart. So I never really consider my age as being a thing. But I did for this birthday because I'm like, well, why am I having all these like weird symptoms? And why do I feel this way? And now I'm 43. What's going on? And then I started reading the book and I was like, oh, like a light bulb moment. It kind of clicks. So I was saying to you, like, I don't understand. I'm like, this brain fog, this irritation, this a little bit like I want to cry and laugh. Like being pregnant, hormonal pregnancy is literally the feeling of you're so freaking tired. Everything's a chore. And I'm like, this feels like I've just given birth. What's going on? So I said to you about it, and you're like, "Oh, you're in the menopause," and I was like, "Perimenopause? Fuck, there's a thing called perimenopause. What's this?"
Yeah.
So trying to educate myself on it, and then ask you guys, who I did a little video for, and the amount of messages and really helpful tips and advice that I got was incredible. And I think as women or as men, we need to talk more about this subject. And I actually do think, have you seen it all over your feed? You might not have done if your phone hasn't heard you saying it.
Oh, no, yeah. I mean, like, just because of the post that you did, I think that I liked. Now I've got, left, right, and center. I'm getting all these ads for all this, like,
hormonal.
Or just, yeah, or like ads for like learn about your menopause cycle and all this stuff. And I'm like, damn.
Sorry.
I just find it so amusing because I'd like never, ever, I moved here when I was 26, so that's another reason why, but I'd never talked about menopause at all.
Yeah.
Except for I knew my mom had been through menopause and had a hysterectomy quite early.
Oh, wow.
And my older sisters had a partial hysterectomy and started menopause quite early, so I'm like kind of crossing my fingers I'm going to start menopause early. And now I have all these friends that either are in menopause or have been through menopause because of the age, general.
Or still a baby.
Yeah, but apparently it happens early in my family. And,
Yeah.
And I've always, because I don't have kids and I don't want kids, I've always been like, yeah, I could do without this period thing. But now I'm like, maybe I don't want this to happen.
To the flow.
Yeah.
Because what she goes. Everything. Hey.
Yeah. But I was talking to one of my girlfriends recently, and she was like, we had a lot of fertility issues. So I never had a regular period. She's like, now I know I'm in perimenopause because I'm getting my period every 28 days, and it's hell. And I'm like, yeah, welcome to the party. 30 years of my life or whatever, It's like,
yeah,
that's how it was, how it's been for me for all this time. So I've always wanted to not have a period, but now I'm like shitting myself basically about all this. I mean, every single person you talk to in the age range for perimenopause and menopause is like, watch out, world.
Yeah, and I didn't realize the age range, and I've been watching a couple of YouTube videos, and Davinia, I think, is doing an incredible job about educating people on perimenopause and menopause, and actually having the conversation, and then bringing in all the women who are educated on this subject and asking those relevant questions. And for me, the shock was how early you actually can start perimenopause and not even realize that you're in it, or you can have symptoms of menopause 10 years before you actually go into menopause. And I was like, oh my God, like it kind of crept up on me, I guess.
Yeah. And those are just average ages, that you're hearing. So like between 35 and 45 is generally perimenopause.
Yeah, and then I guess it could be a little bit later than that, and then you can go into the actual sort of menopause when your cycle.
But then I know women who've been in their 60s and not had menopause, and so you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a really individual.
Yeah. Same as getting your period in the first place,
Yeah,
it depends on certain factors.
Basically, you're born as a female with all your eggs. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then obviously every cycle and every year you lose eggs. So you go into the perimenopause when your eggs are at their lowest amount, when your body's going, if you want to get pregnant, this is the last time that you'll be able to do it, because you're basically low on your eggs and won't be able to. So it's an incredible system within your body that like flags it to you, but the symptoms are quite crazy. And I needed to know why I felt like this. And obviously, because I live with my dad and my son, they're like, what's going on, Mum? And I'm like, I don't know.
But then, like, obviously there's that other stuff. So like, because it's your body's kind of last ditch effort, right, to reproduce.
And I won't be reproducing.
Well, no, but do you have like extreme horniness? Do you have no David Zagan rage?
I got the message to just like,
which is weird, because you would think those things wouldn't really correlate well with finding your last ditch effort partner. But then again,
it is me.
There are guys that are willing.
There are boys that are into that, I guess. Maybe. But no, I've started to feel different, and that, I felt like, I guess, a bit more less confident in my abilities and in myself, because I'm like, I don't know, I can't remember now. Well, what did I say I was going to do? And I'm like, that's not who I am. And then I saw a video, and have you seen like this phenomenon that all of a sudden all these older women are getting diagnosed with ADHD? And I'm like, yeah, because like every other post or every other show seems to be about women getting diagnosed in later age with ADHD, and they're like, yeah, that's actually the perimenopause. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Because we have different symptoms from what boys do. So as a child, they're not like, oh my gosh, this girl's got ADHD, because she's just so good at faking it.
Yeah.
And now we don't have any of those hormones that keep us in the state of masking, because they're starting to fluctuate all over the place. All our female reproductive hormones are all in flux.
Yeah.
And so you basically become like a 12-year-old boy. And you can't control your brain.
Your grades go down in that. Yeah. Also, it's like, So when I was trying to get pregnant with Carter, and before, I have had 7 miscarriages, which is a huge amount.
Yeah.
And every time I had one, they couldn't really tell me why. And what I think is appalling, I don't know if it's the same stats in France, but in England, you had to have 3 miscarriages in order for even do a blood test on you. Yeah, which is crazy, right? And I mean, that's a whole podcast in itself, let alone the trauma and the physical pain and everything else that goes with it. And Carter was actually a twin, and I believed 100% that I had lost him. And then I had to go for a DNC, and then they found Carter. But then I had to start taking progesterone. And then they did a test on me, and were like, you have a blood deficiency with your protein S. So it wouldn't affect me normally, but whenever I got pregnant, I needed to be on progesterone before, during, and 3 months after a pregnancy. For the hormones, because all my placenta was getting blocked and it was like mushed. So obviously, but that was all detected from a simple blood test.
Like if they'd given it to you in the first place.
My testosterone was low, my estrogen was low, and my progesterone. So I was not hitting any of the markers of where I should have been. But again, a simple blood test would have detected that, but they didn't. And it's like women shouldn't have to go through that amount of trauma. And if you've ever had a miscarriage, you will know how horrendous it is. And you shouldn't have to go through that. Like, I 100% believe a blood test is just like the simplest way to get an explanation. That was all to do with like hormones and things that were never detected before. And I never, like most women, would assume that you couldn't carry a child until you know that you can't.
Yeah.
That's hard hitting. A solution from one blood test. And, you know, I was talking to one of my other friends the other day who went through the menopause, and she was like, I literally wanted to kill everybody. And she was like, I didn't feel like myself. I lost my identity. And I'm like, women shouldn't have to get to the point where you feel you are losing who you are
Before somebody will give you a
before somebody goes, you're mental, go sort it out.
Yeah.
Or you feel that you can't cope with life and you go, I'm crumbling, I don't know what to do, I need to look on the internet or read a book to find out what's going on. Like, I think this is an educational thing that should be taught.
Well, this is it. The chemical reactions that happen inside our bodies and our brains. You know, it's like talk therapy is great, and we talk to Giselle, and that's really helpful to at least learn to use the words to explain how you're feeling and stuff like that. But like the chemical processes sometimes can't be fixed, or most of the time can't just be fixed by talking about it.
Yeah.
So being able to have the convictions to go to a GP and talk to him, a doctor for Americans, to go to your doctor and say, you know, I think there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And
are you brave enough?
Yeah, like I know that there's something different in myself from how I was. It's not just like a little lull in my feelings and emotions or whatever, you know, for many different mental health situations, but also obviously in in our perimenopausal situation, it's like an active thing that's potentially going to happen for more than 10 years.
You have that kind of despair and you think, oh my God, like what's changed within me? What's just feeling a bit all over the place? And to me, the symptoms are so easily mirroring other diagnoses.
So there's loads of questions that then you pose to yourself, but like you say, it's simple blood test. So do you have a doctor or do you have a GP?
Yeah, friend, Brotho.
Yeah,
yeah.
And have you been and said, I think I'm in perimenopause. Can I get a blood test?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's knowing to ask that question. I didn't know to ask that question, and I was like, well, I shouldn't really have to read a book or see a post on Facebook. It's to kind of go, oh, this, and then.
But it's just one of those things that we're not taught. Like I said, we never talked about it until now. I'm in an age group of women where we talk about it. Like for men and women of a certain age, your doctors should be telling you, you're reaching in this age, are these your symptoms?
Yeah.
Are you experiencing this? Do you want a blood test? And we can see whether or not you've gone through this. So, you know, it's only the same as the doctors here sending you that thing that says, you know, to get an annual pap smear, or you need to get an annual colorectal exam or whatever, you know, prostate exam. This is the thing. It's like, yeah, they say, you know, there's, when I moved here, they said to Simon, when you turn 50, we start doing a blood test every year instead of every 3 years. So you'll get blood tests every year. But they didn't say, oh, we'll do the one for your prostate, the blood tests to check for any elevated PSA levels for a prostate exam.
Yeah.
So now he's at an age where he's like, I guess I should just go to the doctor and ask him for a prostate exam. But guys don't generally do that.
But is it like a human, like, oh, it will be fine, like carry on regardless, and then until a symptom shows up that you kind of go, oh, maybe I need to go.
You may do an oil change on your car,
right?
And you change the tires on your car.
And if your kid was sick, and you didn't know instantly what it was, or they felt better with what you were doing, you would instantly take him to the doctors. But with
but we're
we
are
and ourselves that internal fit. Oh well, I'll leave it another week and then I'll check. Right?
yeah.
It took me a freaking year to go and get my boob checked. Like when I had a massive like abscess within it. Like it's horrendous. Like I'm so ashamed.
Yeah, but like you put it off, like, you know, when you're due for a doctor's appointment, it's always like, and that's one thing I think in France they're quite good at is like if you want to do any activity at all, like we play golf, you have to get an annual medical exam and they'll like usually want to do a blood test. They don't do I do one every 3 years. But like even pétanque, so your dad's
he had to go.
Yeah, you have to go get a medical certificate to prove you are in a vulnerable state to chuck a little ball 10 yards or whatever, you know, chuck a little metal ball.
Yeah, Carter had to have the same examination when he had to do judo.
But yeah,
judo, he had to get the same certificate, which I think is great because prevention is better than a cure, right? Basically, what you're eating, what you're putting into your body, supplements, being just on the move. It doesn't have to be like weight training or, do you know what I mean? Like being a gym bunny, I guess it is just the movement. Again, it's one of those things thinking like, oh, wow. Another, your health is so freaking important because it affects every area of your life in order to be able to get up and, you know, do the school run or, you know, do this and that and food shopping and running here or fixing cars or mowing lawns or cleaning pool. It never ends. But if you don't have the energy to sustain that, then I was always running on an empty tank. And then you get burnout, don't you?
Yeah.
Burnout is a real thing. And then I feel like the day before my cycle, I always get burnt. Like the last time I had 4 naps in one afternoon.
Yeah.
I had 4 naps and it was like, you know, after I had the vaccine, it was like that sleep I needed. It was like that pregnancy sleep. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I can't live like this because your body's saying slow down. I get it. Your body's saying don't do this, just rest and heal and repair. And I'm like, yeah, but that I get is a priority. But I also have to free up my child, like free school and hard, just going, I'm gonna sleep and just let it go.
Yeah. And I just yeah. So another reason I don't have children. Yeah, like if I have a day where I need to go to bed, I'm like, I gotta go ahead. Like unless I'm working, and if I'm working, it's like, you know, scary. It's scary to think like, yeah, that day, the day before you get your period or whatever, where you're like wrecked and you're not, or like the worst day of your period. You know, those days where you really don't want to be running around in 30-degree heat. Do I work?
Yeah.
But you have to, because that's like, and so you suck it up and you do it. But you can only do that once a month.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah. You're not designed to do that all the time.
No.
I always have been super aware of my cycle because I haven't been on hormonal birth control in so long, since I was in my early 20s. And so noticing things, you know, certain things, it's I'll say to Simon like, oh yeah, I really want to play golf today because I'm on my period and I hit the ball really far. And so I was like, for whatever reason, like one of the days of my period, I can hit it so far.
Because testosterone is like so mighty.
I'm sure it has something to do with whatever the hormone level is, but it's also hilarious because I'm clumsy as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm also like really bad at putting at golf, which requires quite a finesse type of touch. So I'll hit the ball like a mile, and then when I get on the green, it's like the touch of a hammer. When I was looking at English rugby team, the English women's rugby team is freaking phenomenal, and they've only just started to like do research into how to cater the athletes' training to specific cycles.
It was all done on men.
Yeah, and also to like, you think your schedule and stuff. Because when we watch a lot of golf on TV, I'm like, man, if it was my period week, like I wouldn't want to play. Yeah. I'd just be like, no, I'm taking that week off or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's some, or if you play better or if you play worse, certain times of your cycle, and like they should be doing that for men as well, because men have hormonal cycles.
Yeah, they do.
And it's important to understand those things, and those are only just now coming out.
Yeah, I think there's been a really good movement in the last sort of 6 months actually about being socially and educationally aware about the difference between men and women and hormones and what part they play in your life. And actually from like a child, you know, from 10 years up, and the hormones, like I had a spot the other day and I was like, oh my God.
First spot.
Obviously I didn't say that to him, but I noticed it. I was like, oh God.
Are we starting our cycles earlier? Or are we finishing them later? Or, you know, like what patterns are going to start emerging in the next 10 years that we didn't know were there?
Yeah, and what common traits there are of these.
Totally.
I struggle with consistency. I can go 100 miles, again with the ADHD found it, go 100 miles an hour and you like it.
Super ambitious.
And yeah, a while. And then I'm over it now.
Yeah.
But that good, Gemini, I mean, I'm over it now. I'm on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So really, I should just go around building companies and then selling and moving on like something else. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I don't want to follow it through because longevity is never my satisfaction. It's probably the dopamine hit.
So this is the last episode of Pardon Your French. No. Just so everyone knows she's over it. We're moving on to the next thing. No.
But you know what? Because every week we talk about different subjects, it keeps my brain interested, these things. But I think as a society, we are a lot more attuned to these things, what we're, like you say, consuming, what we're, you know, even with social media, because that is a consumption and it's getting more and more, and they could now call it doom scrolling, don't they? And
as the world gets kind of smaller in a way, because we had exposed to so much more, like, you know, the whole world's at your fingertips. So it's always hilarious.
That's overwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always hilarious when you think, because we were talking about, you know, the medical profession and hormones and all this stuff. It's like, it used to be that you go to your doctor and you'd say, like, this is my issue. Do you have any information? And you trusted whatever your doctor said because they were the expert on that. Yeah. Now you're like, I've got a lump in my boob. Let me go on WebMD and look at thousands of different symptoms and thousands of different doctors' opinions on different things and build up this theory in my mind about what it's going to be, to the point where when I go to my doctor,
you diagnose yourself.
I've diagnosed myself, and or I won't take what they say for being expert. I need another opinion and another, which isn't a bad thing. It's not bad to have a second, third opinion, blah, blah, blah. But it's the concept that, like, you know, we didn't used to know these things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now we know all these things, and it's like,
it's quite scary.
It is more overwhelming. Yeah. And so, yeah, I totally get the whole anxiety thing. I wish I'd go to my doctor and ask her a question. She'd just give me an answer and I believe it.
We talk about like menopause and things, and you know, so, you know, the next episode, this is obviously a two-parter. The next episode, we're bringing in Davinia, who is incredible. She has been in the health and wellness industry for 26 years.
This isn't Davinia McCall, by the way, because you did mention her already.
I did mention it.
Yeah, and also, but yeah,
so Davinia, still English,
yeah,
still lovely. And she will be giving you some like practical advice, hints and tips on perimenopause and menopause, having conversations with your family as well, explaining how you feel, and it's okay that you feel that way, and this is what they could do to help you help them.
Help me
help you. That should be a tagline. And yeah, we, you know, getting some facts and things for you, some really good information and tips. And like I said to you, one of my friends saw my video post that I did about, oh my God, I'm getting the menopause and having a midlife crisis about 43. And she said, like, her friend read through it and put a note on her fridge every morning about, like, and rating how she feels. So when the family would come down, they would see that straight away and be like, oh, okay, mum, stay awake for a little bit, like, oh, on edge today, let's be gentle. And she's super kind to her, but she should be to mums, because mums, you know, that's, you know, our daddies work really hard, but
yes.
So I was like, that's a really great tip, and I've never seen or heard that before. And there was another one about like couples, like marriage. So everybody can't give 100% every single day, but I guess in a marriage, you have to find 100%, right? So it would be like you saying to Simon, like, I can give 50% today, and someone goes, well, I can give 50. So you found 100, or like Simon, I've got it today. I'm on 75. And he could go, well, I'm absolutely shattered and it's been a really hard day. I've got a 25, babe.
Yeah.
So together as a couple, you make that 100. And I'm like, that's amazing because that's math anybody can do. But recognizing somebody else is feeling 75% good, or sometimes they might shock and go, babe, I've got like 10% today. And then they're going, to know what? I got you.
Yeah.
And in that moment, somebody says, I got you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, pressure it off. The release of like, oh my God, I'm also being looked after because I can't look after myself today has got to be incredible. So I think a numbers game is really important. And actually, I'm going to teach Carter.
I was going to say, so instead of a husband for you, we'll say, or dad and Carter. So you can just put on the fridge. Yeah, just an house prayer. And your dad, like Carter, has to pick up the slack in between.
Right, and just say, look, I mean, I give 95%, if not more, most days. But some days, like when you get your cycle or you're feeling some symptoms, you want to go, I just can't today. If I could just let them know without having to have that conversation or turn it into like, oh, mum's feeling rubbish today. Like, I could just put up a number.
Yeah.
And then go, that's me. Identify that number with me today.
It was like, number today, hot flash level. So it's like, don't comment on mom's nudity. Mom can't, or as well as this. Oh, yeah, exactly. Mom can't wear clothes today.
Yeah, but again, having that open conversation, because I'm not that kind of mum that would just go like, well, I'm going butt naked today, or putting in on bikini. I'm like, yo, I would do that to people, so I suffer in silence, and I just wear shorts and t-shirt no matter what, or starfish, which we will show you in an episode.
But still sounds terrible every time. It's not acceptable. It's just like, oh, you're ready. I get it. So I've been laughing because obviously ever since you posted that video, you get all sorts of fucking menopausal info coming through. And like a lot of it's like TikTok and memes and Insta videos and stuff. A video of a woman like talking about how they're in the US, they might end up trying to bring back the draft. So they like make kids between 18 and 25, 35 or whatever sign up for the draft.
Wow.
And the woman's like, I don't know why you mess around with that population. Like, why are we going to mess with the kids, man? Let the kids be kids. Yeah. You've got an entire generation of menopausal women who don't give a fuck and they want to kill somebody. They are ready. Like, it's so funny. Her, like, and I was like, that's pretty accurate. Because, like, you do hit this age where you're just like, man, fuck today.
I would do anything for a vacation. I would do anything. Sometimes
I'd do anything to wear a helmet and a M16. Like, no, that's not the same thing as a vacation.
Like, just get out of the house.
I would do anything for an MRE packet. Like, what? Like, oh, you didn't have to quit, you just took it up.
I wouldn't have to cook. Not that I'm taking anything away from veterans, but I do believe a perimenopause, a menopause female army would
pretty dominate, incredibly angry, very well. You get the awareness that there's all these other women in the world. You know, it's like I heard a thing that was like half the world's menstruating at the same time, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
but it was saying it's like, you know, there's a huge population of women globally that are trying to deal with this, and like it has been behind closed doors, in the privacy of your own home. You didn't talk about it, like same way that you didn't talk about menstruation, the same way you didn't talk about sex, all these things that now it's like, actually it might be healthier if we talk about it, people.
Oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, this is all like your energy, you know what I mean? And it's like the anxiety and the overthinking is basically getting your pup and just shaking it out with nothing in it, and you're like, shit.
Yeah.
You know?
My cup's almost empty. I don't know.
We need to go and get another gin. I mean, more gin. Again, not alcohol. Parity is your breakfast.
Supposedly not supposed to drink alcohol in menopause, but like I say, I'm not giving off every pleasure.
I think I'm not going to bitch in mode today that I'm flushing or I'm moody. Because I'm with Vanessa, we're having a gin and tonic, the sun's out, we're going to get to the pool, and life is all good. So, yeah, celebrating the little wins, I think.
Yeah.
And little achievements, I think is great. And honouring yourself that way. Because I never go, God, Steph, well done, take a tuck up today. I never do that.
Well, I'm going to do that.
do it.
Steph, well done.
Hmm.
You came up with this episode. Well done, Steph. You're doing a great job.
Thank you very much.
I'm very proud of you. And taking a moment to yourself, having a little G&T.
And just embracing the menopause. That is surely a train that is arriving any day now. So thank you so much for watching. Please tune in for episode 2 with Davinia, because it is going to be practical, great advice, tips and tricks for perimenopause, menopause, how it affects your family, and it will be great. So join in the conversation, and if you want to connect with us, just DM us. You can do that everywhere on social media, or leave a comment on the YouTube video. You can watch us and comment below. We will get back to you.
Pardon your friend's podcast.
See you soon.
Thank you. Bye.